Okay, so we've been like solving these polynomial equations. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take, if we already have the solutions, and turn it back into the function from the solutions, or from your zeros. So, I mean, this one's pretty straightforward. If I know what my solutions are, this would be x minus one, x minus two, x minus five. I would probably, leave the x minus one and get this trinomial first. So it's like x squared, negative two x, negative five x would be negative seven x, and then plus 10. And then, we'll have double distribution here, so I'm gonna stack that for space. So it would be x cubed minus seven x squared plus u plus 10x. And then negative x squared plus 7x minus 10 should give us x cubed minus 8x squared plus 17x minus 10. And you can grab that and check your solutions and make sure it crosses, because they're all real solutions. When they get to be imaginary, it's a little more difficult, but you can still kind of grab that and look at it. Y'all okay there? I'm gonna skip to, on 3, we have x plus 2. What is that negative 4/3? How am I gonna write that as a factor? 3x plus 4. And then x minus 2. I'm not gonna work that out. I just wanna make sure y'all are good with the one that was the fraction. Alright, so on 4, we have the radical here. I'm gonna write the x minus 1 first and put the two others at the back, because those are the ones we're gonna wanna multiply together so we can get some stuff to cancel nicely. So I'm gonna have x minus 1 here, and then I have x plus the square root of 2, and x minus the square root of 2, which essentially what happens when we have that is the difference of squares. Y'all are good with that, right? Okay. So I'm gonna leave my x minus 1, and then when I FOIL that out, of course, x squared here, but the negative square root of 2x and the positive square root of 2x are gonna cancel, and then square root of 2 times the negative square root of 2 is gonna give us minus 2 there. Everybody okay with how that works out? So when you have the plus or minus, those are the ones that you wanna multiply together because it's way cleaner. Alright, so then that would give us, looks like x cubed, minus 2x minus x squared plus 2. I would need to rearrange that. Make sure I write it in the right order. Good there? Okay, so if we come down and we look at these, this one is pretty much going to be like this one. Do y'all want me to work that one since it has the 2 and the root 3? Okay. Alright, so I'm going to do plus 1 and minus 1 together, and then I'm going to do x plus 2 root 3 and x minus 2 root 3. So I'm going to FOIL these two together because it's a difference of squares, and these two, so it's going to give me two binomials that I could then multiply together. Y'all good? Alright, so this one is going to give me x squared minus 1. This one, I'm going to get x squared. The 2 root 3's in the middle are going to cancel out. One's positive, one's negative, so I know I'm going to have subtraction. So then the root 3 times root 3 is just going to give you 3, right? Times 2 times 2, which would be 4. So 4 times the 3 would give you 12. Everybody okay with how that works out there? Anybody have a question on that one? So it's kind of tricky if you're not real careful. So the 2's you multiply together, but the root goes away and it's just a single 3. So then, are y'all okay from there? Like, I don't need to work that out, right? Okay. Alright, so I'm going to leave that one. Alright, let's take a look at this one because these get a little bit tricky. So I'm going to have x plus 6. I'm going to leave it alone for right now. And then this is the one where I have to write it as, I'm going to put kind of a bracket around this. So I'm going to have x minus 2 plus the square root of 5. So that's my first one. And then I have x minus 2 minus the square root of 5. Alright, so obviously, I want to deal with this before I deal with this x plus 6. So I'm just going to leave the x plus 6 alone. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to want to do is simplify inside of here before I do any multiplication. So my x is fine, but this negative has got to distribute in there. So that's going to be negative 2 and minus 5. So I have x minus 2 minus root 5. So I have that. And then this one is going to be x minus 2 plus root 5. So I've got that simplified. So now I have these two trinomials that I'm going to multiply together before I ever touch the x plus 6. So this is still going to be out here. Obviously you're not going to have very many of these, but it actually comes out pretty nice. Okay, so when I multiply my x squareds, and I'm going to kind of stack this just because that's a little bit easier to do. So I'm going to multiply my x times everything. So x times x gives me x squared. And then I have minus 2x. And then I have plus square root of 5 x. Good there? Or x squared of 5, however you want to write that. Alright, then I've got the negative 2 times everything. So that gives me negative 2x right there. And then negative 2 times positive 2 gives me positive 4, so I'm going to write it back here because it doesn't fit with anything else. And then negative 2 times the square root of 5 is going to be negative 2 root 5. So I've got to write it back here because it's still different than everything else. Everybody okay? Now I've got the negative square root of 5 times x gives me negative square root of 5 times x, which is going to make this cancel right here. Y'all okay there? Alright, then I'm going to have negative square root of 5 times times negative 2, which is going to give me positive 2 square root of 5, which is going to make these two cancel. And then negative square root of 5 times positive square root of 5 is just going to be negative 5 right there. So when all that stuff cancels out, I've got I got this. So I've got x plus 6 still is out here, but then this becomes x squared minus 4x minus 1. And then I would do my multiplication to clean that up, which I think y'all are fine with that. You probably need to go any further. I just want to make sure you saw how that worked. Everybody okay with that one? Any questions on that at all? So when you have one that's like that, one, please make sure you write it this way within that parentheses. Get those signs taken care of first. Your radical stuff should end up canceling. If it doesn't, then you probably have a sign issue somewhere because it should always cancel out. Okay, so if we had the multiplicity, do you care 7 or 8? Does it make any difference? I'll do 8 then since it has the fraction, I guess. So if I have it, and it has a 0. So if I have a 0 out here, I just write an x. If it was 0 with a multiplicity of 2, then you'd write x squared. Does that make sense? Okay. Then I have x minus 1, and then this will be 2x minus 5 squared, or you can write your 2x minus 5 twice, however you want to go about that. Then if it was me, I'd multiply this together first, I'd FOIL that, and then I'd multiply them together. Is that logical to y'all? Questions on that at all? Everybody's good? Okay. So we'll go back here. These are pretty much going to be the same as what we had on the other side. Like you just have the multiplicity and we'd have to write them out. So I think y'all are decently comfortable there. Yes? Okay. Alright, so we'll come down here and we'll look at these complex zeros then. Alright, so if a polynomial function has complex zero at a plus bi. Then its conjugate, a minus bi, is also a complex zero. So I don't know why, because typically we always make you write plus or minus 3i when you're solving out, right? But sometimes they don't write the plus or minus in, as far as like somebody writing that down. I honestly couldn't tell you why, because they should. But just recognize that if this is 3i, then it's both positive and negative 3i. Is that logical to y'all? Okay, so anytime you have the I, it's basically should be 2. Or should be both. Alright, so then we would have x minus 5, and then x plus 3i, and x minus 3i. So then I would have x minus 5, and then when I FOIL that out, my positive 3i, my negative 3i, they're going to cancel, and then this is going to be minus, and then the 3i times the 3i would be negative 9. This would give you negative 9i squared, right? Or, well, I guess it already got the minus there, sorry. Minus, let me write it this way, sorry. Minus 9i squared. Well, I squared has a value of what? Negative 1. So then this whole thing becomes x squared plus 9 times the x minus 5. Y'all okay there? Y'all need me to work that out the rest of the way. I think y'all are probably fine the rest of the way, yes? Okay, so this one would look like x plus square root of 6, x minus square root of 6, x plus 2i, and x minus 2i, and I would get that and do that one separately and then multiply them together. Like, we always want to do the pairs together because the middle's going to cancel. Do y'all need that one worked, or y'all are okay with that from there? Okay from there, alright. So let's take a look here. I'm going to do this one here. And it's going to be kind of messy like that one on the other side, so it's going to take a kind of a lot of space. So if you need both blocks because you write bigger, use both blocks out here. So I'm going to have x plus 4, and then this one is going to be x minus 3 plus I, and then x minus 3 minus I. So the situation is going to be a whole lot like that one on the other side. So x plus 4 I'm leaving. And then I'm going to start working this out. So, well, I need to clean it up, I guess, first. So it would be x minus 3 minus I, and then x minus 3 plus I. X minus 4 is still going to be there. So then I'm going to have, start multiplying that out, x squared minus 3x plus ix, xi, however you want to write that, I don't really care. So that's the first one. Then that's going to give me, here I'm going to have another negative 3x. I'm going to have a positive 9. And then I'm going to have a negative 3i. Then when I multiply my I through, that's going to give me a negative ix right there. So those will cancel. This will give me a positive 3i. So those cancel. And then I would have minus I squared back there. We okay there? Alright, so when I clean that up, and I'm gonna clean that up and then I'll bring down my x plus 4. So then I'm gonna have x squared minus 6x, that canceled. This is a 9, and then I have minus, this becomes a negative 1. So 9 minus negative 1 becomes 9 plus 1, so it'll be plus 10 there. Times your x plus 4. Any questions on how those are going to work? So that one and the radical one, they're going to be the same.